Writing at Level 6, Tips and Tricks to Succeeding. My name is Steph Bennett. I'm a Learning Development Tutor in the Hub. Aims: to develop an understanding of academic writing at Level 6 in preparation for upcoming assignments. We will look at writing at Level 6, command words, conventions of academic writing, paragraph examples, descriptive versus critical, and referencing. Writing at Level 6. At Level 6, academic writing should aim towards the development of themes and arguments. In relation to your apprenticeship, it might include thinking about the approaches you will take in professional practice and the strengths and limitations of these approaches and how they are underpinned by the literature. An understanding of issues. What is happening in professional practice? What is happening more broadly within the field? How might you interpret this and write about it in your assignments? The selection and analysis of sources. This is about looking to your reading list. It's about conducting wider reading and choosing the most appropriate, suitable and relevant sources to underpin your ideas. And quality of communication. This is about your spelling, your punctuation, your grammar with a particular focus on syntax, and also your referencing. If your writing is clear and understandable, you can get your message across to the reader in an easier manner. So think about the scale. Can you maintain your criticality throughout your writing? How far can you push your ideas? And can you use your analysis to develop new ideas, new recommendations for professional practice? Let's look at the golden rules of academic writing. We need unity. Get to the point, stick to the point. Don't go off on a tangent. Cohesion. The flow from sentence to sentence, from paragraph to paragraph. Think about a clear structure. How are your paragraphs ordered? Do they tell a narrative? Think about your style. Remember, you should remain formal and unbiased. Think about your expression. The format should be consistent. That means things like we only use Times or Arial as our fonts. Main body font text should be size 12. Everything should be line spaced either 1.5 or 2. And your writing should be left aligned. Everything should be referenced correctly. That includes in-text citations where you have used literature and also the full source in the reference list. You need to have edited and proofread before submission to pick up on any errors. As mentioned previously, remain formal and unbiased. Think about the theory and ensure that it underpins your professional practice. And think about the technical language you might use related to your field, so we can tell your assignments apart from a geography student or a history student. We know you are a careers apprentice. And let's think about what not to do. Let's avoid contractions. That's where we use words like it's or haven't. We need it is or have not. Avoid but, because or and at the start of sentences. These are otherwise known as conjunctions. Avoid slang. Avoid overly complicated writing. Avoid really long paragraphs because you lose the reader. Avoid cliches or slang. Avoid deadwood. Why say something in 20 words when you can say it in 10? Avoid conflicting tenses. And avoid plagiarism. Give credit where credit is due. If you've used somebody's thoughts, theories, ideas, cite them, reference them. Command words. So let's head to task 1. What follows is a set of command words, and typically you'll see these on your assignment briefs because they'll instruct you to do something within your academic writing. Following these commands is how you will meet the expectations of your assessors. So, can you match the command word to its correct description? Here we go. Pause the video. Did you get it right? Discuss is to give an account that addresses a range of ideas and arguments. Finding that flow. Let's take a look at these two. Have a read of them. Which do you think is the strongest of the two, and why do you think that is? Pause the video, have a read. Did you get it right? It is the second one. So the first one, if we read it out loud, sentence structure is, ultimately, at the heart of good quality academic writing, because it helps to clarify the ideas being discussed and, when done correctly, can be used to draw attention to the most important points being made by the author, which can help to make the argument more effective. The bottom one, ultimately, sentence structure is at the heart of good quality academic writing. This is because it helps to clarify the ideas being discussed. When done correctly, it can be used to draw attention to the author's most important points. As a result, it can help to make the argument more effective. You can see in the second version, we have effective punctuation, commas and full stops where they are needed to give the reader a rest. In the first version, there is a single full stop at the end. Also, have a think about signposting language. So the second version uses ultimately at the start. It also uses the phrase as a result. So we know what's coming next in the sentence. And how about this? What do we think this is? A diminutive yet intrepid arachnid commenced a perilous pursuit to scale the tremendous heights of a perpendicular conduit designed for the passage of hydrogen dioxide. I'm not going to read any more of that. Did you get it? It's Incy Wincy Spider. And no, this is not a good example of academic writing. It's overly complicated. There are too many large words in here, and it becomes very difficult to absorb what's being said. So sometimes people confuse this with being good academic writing. But like I mentioned before, get to the point, stick to the point, be really clear. Let's look at direct quotes and paraphrasing. So at level 6, direct quotes should be used sparingly. Firstly, avoid quote dropping. It's where you place a full quote in a sentence by itself. And here we have an example. We've placed a quote by Howlett in a sentence. A better way to go about it is to integrate the direct quote into the sentence. Howlett, 2023, suggests, here's the direct quote, it is possible to argue that blah 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 blah, page 62. An even better approach to take at level 6, paraphrase. It could be suggested that the main goal of McMunn's studies was not aimed at enabling the child to become promptly skilled and fluent in another language. It shows that you have absorbed what you've read, you've mulled it over, and it's popped out the other side, and this is your interpretation. So paraphrasing is a really great approach to go with. Only use direct quotes if you feel you are unable to rephrase it in any other way, or if you are referring to legislation or policy. You probably want to use direct quotes in those moments. Now let's look at some examples of academic writing. Let's have a look at this here. Have a read of it. Can you see if there is anything wrong with it? Can you pick out any errors? So what we could do if we had written a paragraph that looks like this, that actually features some content that might be useful, we could firstly try to tweak it. We can try and rejig, rephrase, move some bits about to get it flowing a little bit more and to try and erase the errors. This is what we do in learning development alongside you. So here we go. It might look like this once we've had a little bit of a rejig. I've popped in a comma, changed some words around, deleted the bits we didn't need, added in some new phrasing. Have a read of it now. Or if we wanted to elevate it even more, especially because we're now working at level 6, we could do a complete rejig and rephrase and draw on everything we've just learnt, and it might start to look like this. Despite the solutions differentialism may provide when implemented effectively, there are still limitations to its usefulness. That is the overall point to this paragraph. So everything that follows has to feed back into that point. We're going to start to draw from the literature now. It can enable a suitable starting point when building relationships, particularly when children are new to the service. We've drawn on Barnett, who, by the way, is not a real author, so don't go searching for him. I've just used this as an example. The same goes for Travis, ZB and Furness. I have no idea who those people are. I've just used them for an example. It may also influence decisions regarding their future focus and what they would like to pursue. However, this approach does not necessarily consider their cultural and social needs. Can you see how that quick however feeds into the limitations aspect of the point at the very top of the paragraph? Now we're going to explain what that means, and we're going to draw it back into professional practice to the setting that we work in. For example, in my professional practice, when pupils are due to leave the unit, they occasionally are unsure of where they will be going, which presents issues regarding their knowledge of the area. Hence, differentialism cannot be presented as a one-size-fits-all approach to career guidance, and subsequently, this can negatively impact learners. Namely, past personal experiences have revealed pupils to have quickly lost interest or developed undesirable attitudes when they take on something new and dislike it. So we've linked everything back to what we are doing as a careers advisor. Let's now wrap up the paragraph. Overall, differentialism is a beneficial approach to employ, yet advisors, including myself, must be aware of its limitations to counter them within the setting. All this has done is used academic language, drawn on professional practice, linked it to the literature, and there's been a bit of proofreading and editing to ensure the spelling, punctuation and grammar flows a little more. It has used the same content as the original paragraph, and that's how easy it can be to elevate your academic writing. And in fact, I'm going to show you a little trick to writing more academically that you can use. This is academic Phrasebank, and it is full of academic sentence starters to help you with your academic writing. So if we wanted to refer to sources, so we're reading the literature and we want to give general comments on relevant literature. The literature on differentialism has highlighted several. Different theories exist in the literature regarding. More recent attention has focused on the provision of. So this site literally has sentence starters that you can use to elevate your academic writing. At the top, you can see there are sentence starters to introduce work, refer to sources, describe methods, report results, discuss findings, write in conclusions, but also all the way down the left-hand side as well. I typically use it for signalling transition, explaining causality, and being critical. Let's head into some command words again. So, task 2, can you match these command words to their correct description? 5 minutes, pause the video, jot down your ideas. Here we have them: justify, critique, examine, recommend, describe. Away you go. Did you get it right? And here we are. Describe, give an account, examine, to look at, inspect or scrutinise, recommend, suggest, put forward, critique, to subjectively review information, justify, present a reasoned case. So now you know what to do if you are ever presented with these command words in your assignment briefs. Let's take a look at criticality then. Level 6 academic writing should demonstrate your ability to be critical. And it'll be very clear on your assignment briefs when you need to do so. Here we can see on the left-hand side a description. Scaffolding is a technique devised by Ninio and Bruner, 1978, in which a teacher changes the level of assistance as a child becomes more familiar with a skill. We have described and explained what that technique is about. Now let's take it to the critical. Ninio and Bruner's 1978 scaffolding strategy can be effective, but could be argued to be limited by the skills of the teacher to adapt their teaching methods quickly. We've not just offered an idea as to what scaffolding is and how it can be effective, but we've looked at the limitations. And that's all about being critical, not taking things at face value, seeing things from different perspectives. So let's go into a task. Can you determine which of the following is descriptive and which is critical? Place a D or C next to them as you go. Did you get it right? Everything on the left-hand side is a description. Everything on the right-hand side is the critical version of the description. So in your assignment, if you have started out by stating what has happened, maybe something happened in your professional practice, to take it to the critical, you must identify the significance of what happened. If you're explaining how to do something within your field, argue a case for how appropriate that approach is and draw on the literature to support you. If you're looking at theories and what a theory says, argue why that theory is relevant to your practice. So this is a really great table to hang on to ensure you're being critical and meeting the expectations of your assessors. Now let's look at 2 examples. Can you tell me which is the stronger paragraph example based on everything you've learnt so far and academic practice? Here's the first example. Pause the video, jot down your ideas. And here is example 2. Pause the video, jot down your ideas. Did you get it right? It's example 2. Example 2 is the stronger of the 2 paragraphs. And here's why. So now we've come to the end of the session. Hopefully you understand a little bit more about academic practice, how to structure a paragraph, how to identify errors and mistakes in paragraphs, how to proofread and edit your work effectively, how to underpin with literature and link to professional practice, how to explain thoroughly, how to be critical. And now let's look at the finishing elements: referencing, in-text citations and the reference list. There are two types of in-text citations. The first is bracketed, and that's literally because they sit in a bracket at the end of the sentence. Brackets, surname, year of publication, page number, close brackets. All page numbers have a space between the P full stop and the number. If you have paraphrased across multiple pages of text, or you have used a website where there are no page numbers, you just need the surname and the year. Integrated citations, I call these sandwiches. And here you can see why. Author, year in brackets, direct quote, everything is sandwiched in with that page number at the end. However, as I've just mentioned, if you paraphrase across multiple pages of text, or you've used a website and there is no page number attached, just add the surname followed by the year. It's important not to overlook the fact that if you paraphrase from one page of text, for example, if you paraphrase an author's quote, you must add a single page number. Let's look at how we would formulate this in the reference list. So obviously this is not a real source because that surname is my surname. If it was an online book reference, we'd have surname, comma, initial, full stop, year of publication in brackets, followed by a full stop. The title of the book in italics and sentence case, followed by a full stop. If you're not sure what sentence case is, it basically means a capital letter at the start of the sentence, on proper nouns and after colons, but nowhere else, everything else lowercase. Followed by the publisher, full stop, and a link to the book online. However, if it was a journal, journals are slightly different. We've got surname, comma, initial, full stop, followed by the year in brackets and a full stop. The title of the article is in sentence case and non-italic type, followed by a full stop, because the journal itself should be in italics, and interestingly, it's also in title case. So we've got a capital J here and a capital A, followed by a comma, and then the volume is in italics. Swiftly followed by the issue number in brackets, flush with the volume but not in italics, followed by a comma, and then the page range of the article. Notice there's no PP full stop before it, just the numbers, followed by full stop, and then you get this DOI number at the end. It's a link to the journal online. If you need any more help with citing or referencing, please access our online academic integrity guide. There are step-by-step guides and videos to citing and referencing every source you'll ever use. Moving forward then, if you need learning development, we're here to check your spelling, your punctuation, your grammar, your referencing. You can book in with us. You can book in with the library if you want to locate additional literature outside of your reading list. You can book in with digital learning for formatting and for Microsoft Office concerns. You can check out our Learning Development Blackboard with all of the guides to academic writing on there. You can check out, as I've mentioned before, our Academic Integrity Guide Blackboard so you can learn how to cite and reference in APA. And you can check out Academic Phrasebank, which I've already shown you what that looks like. And if you have any questions or suggestions or concerns, stephanie.bennett@bishopg.ac.uk. Drop me an email.